Yo, 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 what is up, you guys? So, in today's video, we're just going to look at a free iPad app called Conductr. So, just open it up. So, it was actually really important to me that I show you guys kind of like how you open it up. So, excuse my webcam setup here. It's kind of like a ghetto screen capture. I did have a software that records my iPad screen straight to my computer, so then I can basically same way you're seeing Ableton, you could see my iPad, but I don't have that license anymore. So anyways, this is as good as it's gonna get. So let's just select this now. So basically what this does to get this going, so just a quick setup, is you install this app on your iPad and it's free. And you can install a free desktop version of that, so it doesn't matter if you're on Mac or PC. There's versions for all of that. I'm on Windows 8.1, so I did have to do an extra script thing so that I can establish a server for these two to connect. And once you have that, you open up the app, and then of course we'll select a project. So I'll just select whichever one. We'll press go, and I'll do a quick little scan, and now we're in. So basically, I can show you now everything else that's in this. So we have basic stuff like a transport. So we can see basic play, stop, record, volume, cue, volume, and tempo, and all that stuff. And of course, we see these boxes here. So it's gonna be hard to see, but there's this little orange box which divides this top half of the screen. So if I unclick that now, it just goes back to a corner. And then we have also other things like clips. So I'm gonna make this one full screen. So this is hard to tell even for me looking at the iPad, because these little gray boxes are so hard to see. But basically, if you had, let's look at Ableton. If you had clips inside of your window here, you could then start launching clips and all that. So I don't really like to launch a lot of clips. I like the linear fashion, but you can see once you have this in full screen, you can select and start and launch a lot of clips, and that's really cool. So of course, a cool thing is if we make this even a little bit smaller, or I clicked on the wrong thing, we make it smaller, then you can see that I can still activate and launch clips from this window, but now we just have a smaller selection. So full screen, this is definitely for those enthusiasts that love to DJ and maybe use, like a clip launching type style of workflows. So that's another cool thing there. And let's actually add another module in here. Why not? So when we click on these little small squares when we're in full screen, we can now select something else. So let's select something like the keyboard. So the keyboard, let's go back into Ableton, switch this over. Let's look at a group here, and I already have something ready to go, engaged. So now I can just kind of play around with this like it's like a MIDI keyboard, so just like that, la 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 la. Of course, if you had this app is free, but there are expansions you can buy which enables you to add more features and more control and more modules, which we'll get to in a sec. So if I try to use another octave, it's going to basically say, hey, you want to buy this? And I think for this being free, it's really got a lot of cool stuff in it already. And if you do end up liking it, then you might be tempted to expand on it. Of course, there's other great softwares like Lemur and all that, but those are like $24 just to have the basic app, and this one is just free and has a lot of cool stuff already. And this is not an endorsement video. I don't know who the developers are or anything like that, and I'm not endorsing this. I just thought it'd be cool to do this kind of video. So let's also check out something else here. So we re-looked at the mixer, the master, and the clips, and actually we didn't look at the mixer, so let's look at the mixer. So basically, if we look in Ableton, our mixer and all that, so if we want to look at group 6, so the orange one right here, if I want to expand this here in my mixer, I can start to see that. So now you can see it's correlating the screen to the iPad, and again, there's no cable on this. So if I switch over to maybe my camera, you can see that this is where my cable would be, and there's no cable there. This is working as you see it via a connection. So really cool stuff there. And of course, we have a lot more things in this basic window. So again, if I want to start muting a lot of things and start having control of everything, again, you have to expand and buy some of those modules, but not what I meant to do. Full screen. I still don't keep clicking on the wrong things. Not too familiar with this, but I do like it. So if we're now back in the mixer window, if we click on these little bars right here, which will be hard to see again because of my shitty webcam, we have some basic left and right pan, master left and right pans. We have solo buttons and a lot of cool stuff. And then over here is just another view, I suppose. I'm not really sure what the point of this one is. If this is just a big fader up, so it's just basic faders. We'll just bring that back down to 0 because whatever. So those are some of the things there. And I guess what I really like about this, now getting into the modules. So this is a module right here. Now if we look at group 6 again, you'll notice I have a filter right here that's assigned to a macro. So just a very basic filter rack. And I have this parameter assigned to that. So now I can just, move this left and right. So basically, something like this. And you can also have device on and off. So if I just wanted to turn off this device right here, I could just have the right side of the iPad screen to be off and then the left to be an on. So I had something set up like that earlier, and I'll show you how we can make a new module. But basically, if this is really useful if you just have something like this. So let's go over here. Let's set this as our not our mixer. I actually clicked on the only thing I didn't want to click on. Let's have this set up as our master, our basic transport, because I have play and stop. And let's set this up. So now what I'll do is I'll just play this part right here, and you'll hear the filter acting. So of course I'm only going to be using the iPad. Everything that's happening on the Ableton screen is just being controlled through the iPad. So you'll be able to see that. So let's just press play. And of course, my automation kicked in, so let's just override my automation. So let's actually turn this on this time. So let's get going. So you get the kind of idea of what you can do with these modules. So let's actually now inspect some of these modules a little bit more. So basically you have that module 1 is just assigned to that cutoff or the filter right here. So we can add more modules. So I think with the free version you can only have 2 user modules, and then you have to start buying more or something like that. So let's just add a new one. So let's just go to module 2. We have a basic XY default sort of thing. So now we can start adding parameters and devices and all this stuff and really getting really crazy with this. So let's go to parameters, or actually let's go add. And maybe, I think it was, okay, so learn actually makes it a lot easier. So if I just select something here, as opposed to finding it through menus through the app, maybe I can now go over here and have this device there. So now it's learned from that, and let's click that off. And now we have parameters here. So now we can also go in the menu and start looking through. So I know you can't see this because it's even blurry on the screen that I'm looking at. That's basically what you're seeing. But basically this is a read off all my tracks. So like group 6, group 8, piano tracks, whatever, drums, master right here, and my returns. So now I can click on any of those. So let's just click on the master real quick. We'll go to my master chain, and I can have a device on and off. So right here, this says device on. I know, of course, you can't see that. But if I wanted to, I can assign a device on and off type switch so that I can turn off my master chain and just use it for referencing and all that. So that's one way you can do that. So let's back out of all this. Let's go to the playground. So that means go back to this window over here where everything's at, where all our controls are at. Let's add a module 2. So let's just make this maybe a little bit bigger. So we have the macro 1, which is our group filter and the device on and off. So just hitting this, so I know it's going to be hard to see once it turns bright. But basically, if we look over here at group 6, it's going to turn off that rack. So you can see it's just turning it off and on. And then over here is just basically the filter. So really interesting. So the more parameters you have, the more, you know, you can start really messing around with this, and really helpful when you have something like this. So again, now I can control this a lot better. Now I have the tools. So that's all I really wanted to show you. I think I showed you everything that comes free with this. There's a lot more that comes with the expansions. Again, I'm not endorsing this. I don't know who makes this. I just thought it was a really cool free app. And I've even have some apps that I bought for Ableton and that kind of stuff that I didn't think were as easy to use. And basically that's it. So if you guys, I don't know how many of you guys have iPads or anything, I wouldn't recommend buying an iPad for a software like this. It's really not an essential workflow production type thing to own or to really get into. I think this is just like a extra luxury. If you happen to have an iPad and you really want to have another, you know, point of control surface or something like that, then definitely I would totally recommend this. So thanks guys for watching, and of course, lates.